See how lovely you did that. I don't even have to invite you to return to your seat. You knew what to do. We are going to have a wonderful guest speaker who I'm going to introduce in a moment. But first, for right now, I'd like to introduce our musician for the day. Daniel Nemod is a favorite here at Golden Gate Center. Although he lives in Southern California, so he'll be coming to us by recording today, he has performed for us live several times and done 2 concerts for us here as well. His songs have been recorded and performed all over the world. Let's just name a few places that you might be familiar with. Saturday Night Live, The Voice, American Idol, the Super Bowl, and the Today Show. So please stand and join with him now in our opening song, I Am an Instrument.
Hello, Golden Gate. It's Daniel Nemod. I hope you're doing well, staying cool this hot summer. Today's going to be a lot of fun. I have a few songs that are a little bit outside the box. This first one, to sing together, if you're so inclined, is a song that I decided to pull a full-on Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy thing. This was way back in like 2002 or so. And I sang every single part on this song. There are no other instruments, which is at least partly why I decided to call the song I Am an Instrument. And I am probably not going to stick with this melody. I might have to sing some of the parts that I added in the background of this thing because it really was one of the most fun experiences I ever had recording. So here we go. I Am an Instrument. Join me if you like. I had a low voice that morning. Here we go. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I want to play in the symphony of sacred love. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I want to play in the symphony of sacred love. Never again will I wander. Never again will I doubt. Suddenly I can see clearly. Love is what this life is about. Yeah, 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 I am an instrument. Here comes the verse. Never again will I want. Again will about. Yeah, chorus one more time. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. I want to play in the symphony of say. Now, bonus round. I am an instrument. He's an instrument. I am an instrument of the divine. I want to play in the symphony of sacred love. I want to play in the symphony of sacred love. Nice job. Thank you for indulging me. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes again.
Thank you. We love Daniel, don't we? So now is the time for everyone to turn off your instruments to play songs simultaneously, known as the cell phone. So if you would shut your cell phone off so that we can go into our sacred time together, I would like to invite up our practitioner of the day, Reverend M. Louise Mann, to give our opening prayer.
Well, as we just breathe in this morning and open our hearts and minds to remember that we all are instruments of peace. We are instruments of love. We are instruments of that goodness of life. For God is present in and through every single one of us. And so we remember this blessing, this strength that we have, this love that we have for each other, and for that wonderful knowledge that we are all lifted and guided. And as we just open this day to this wonderful service, open to the love that is present here among each one of us. And we know that we are gifted in this very moment, in every single moment. And so I simply say, thank you, Mother, Father, God, for this. And together we say, and so it is.
Okay.
Well, I'm now inviting Daniel Nina back for our opening song.
Okay, before I sing this next song, I just have to say, my marriage is fine. You don't need to worry about it. My wife may not love this next song, but she knows that I wrote it way before I met her. It was written about a movie star who I had a huge crush on, me and 50 million other people. Back in 2006, I was in Moab and I was writing the water songs, and I was also writing sometimes very goofy things. And this is one of the most fun experiences I ever had, writing it and then recording it. From my album called Waiting for Betsy, here is a tribute to a very lovely movie star who has gone on, by the way, to become a mega millionaire businesswoman. So good for her, and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. This is a song for Jessica Alba. I know you're out there listening to my CD. Do you want to go out and go see a movie, or maybe ice cream? Everybody likes ice cream. I've tried to ask some other girls out, but they're never as pretty as you. So I tried to get your home phone number, but your agency said that it's none of my business. So I wrote you this song. Dear Jessica Alba, I know you're out there grooving to my CD. Do you want to go out and go see a movie, or maybe ice cream? I bet you like ice cream. Then I heard the news that you were pregnant, making a baby, and I couldn't be more happy for us. I just printed the adoption papers. I hope the baby looks like you and not like your boyfriend, since I wrote you this song. Dear Jessica Alba, I know you're out there shimmying to my CD. Do you want to go out and go see a movie, or maybe ice cream? I hope you like ice cream. I'm not a stalker, I swear. Pinky swear, not like some other guys out there. He really does care. I'm just a boy who believes in love at first sight. Do you want to go out and go hip-hop dancing, or maybe ice cream? Who doesn't like ice cream? Yeah, maybe ice cream. 'Cause I read you like ice cream. How about some ice cream?
As always, Daniel is fun. And we have somebody else here who's very fun as well. Our guest speaker this morning, Steve Bierman, is an internationally known author, humorist, and workshop leader. For the past 40 years, he has written and performed as Swami Beyondananda, the cosmic comic. Swami's comedy has been called irreverently uplifting and has been described both as comedy disguised as wisdom and wisdom disguised as comedy. Our friend Marianne Williamson called him the Mark Twain of our generation. On a more serious note, Steve has co-authored the book Spontaneous Evolution, Our Positive Future, and a Way to Get There from Here, with cellular biologist Bruce Lipton, who's a PhD, who I think we're also familiar with. Steve writes a regular Substack blog, Signs of the Upwising, and his talk today for us this morning is Defying Gravity, Using Levity to Uplift in Unfunny Times. We are delightful to welcome him to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Steve Bierman, please join me at the stage.
Thank you. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm going to add an accolade that Reverend Mary didn't. He's also a bebop boy, in case you didn't know this, because I watched through the whole instrument song. He was doing the bass line.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I got to say something about the Marianne Williamson thing, Mark Twain. Several years ago, I was doing a program with a great, funny singer-songwriter, Greg Tamblyn, who's in Kansas City. And it turns out that Larry Dossey, the great Dr. Larry Dossey, called him the Mark Twain of our time. So here we are, two of us, right? How do we promote the show? So we had the flyer that said, Swami Beyondananda, Greg Tamblyn, two Twains on the same twack with one locomotive to make you laugh. So that absolutely worked. So thank you, Marianne. I love being here. It's been a long time, but I love being at these particular kind of spiritual centers. My kind of spiritual center, strictly non-dominational. And, I do so many talks in front of church groups that people have asked me if I'm an ordained minister. Turns out I was a minister in a past life, so I'm preordained. I really do some serious churches. Several years ago, we were in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was asked to do a talk on the healing power of laughter to a really very traditional Presbyterian church. And it was very Presbyterian. They were all wearing their vestments. There was the choir was standing all on this side, like all standing up. It was like really thing. And so I start my talk, and I look at the choir people over here, and I asked them. I said, "I want to ask you a question. How many people believe that laughter is healing?" And they all raised their hand, and I said, I'm preaching to the choir. So we're living in very, very interesting times. Swami was doing a show a little while ago, and somebody said, "Swami, can you help me communicate with a loved one on the other side?" And Swami said, which side, Democrat or Republican? My favorite true story about this power is something that happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. It turned out that there were, according to John Kenneth Galbraith, the economist, there were Americans and Soviets negotiating about possible trade between the two countries. And when news of the missile crisis hit, everything stopped, and there was tremendous tension in the room. Finally, one of the Soviet delegates very timidly raised his hand and said, I suggest that we each go around and tell a joke. And he volunteered to start. His joke was, what's the difference between capitalism and communism? In capitalism, man exploits man. In communism, it's the other way around. And everyone burst out laughing. The whole place came down in laughter. And it was an amazing joke because it was I think, very like a shamanic impact that it had, because all of a sudden everybody was simultaneously busted and elevated. All of the tension that they've been holding came down in this one laugh. And then all of a sudden everybody was there rehumanized as human beings. And they were able to continue their conversation. So I'm holding that as a higher power in these times of great division, in these very unfunny times, that by lifting ourselves up above the battlefield to find ourselves a new playing field, we can see levity takes us higher to see a bigger picture. So I'm going to share 4 principles of cosmic comic consciousness that I think will help you wake up laughing and leave laughter in your wake. A number of years ago, Trudy and I were in Europe, and we met a woman who is a translator. She's an interpreter, and she worked at the EU in Brussels. And she said that one of the hardest things, and you'll understand this, one of the hardest things to translate is humor, because it's often language-based, it's often idiosyncratic to the culture. It's a very hard thing to translate a joke. So she was doing this translation for this guy speaking. He told a joke. She translated it. Everybody burst into laughter. He was really impressed. Afterward, he came up to her. He goes, wow, I'm very impressed. How did you translate my joke? She said, oh, I just said, it's a joke, laugh. So ever since I heard that story, I recognized that the fundamental, with the accent on the fun, of cosmic comic consciousness is it's a joke, laugh. If it's not life-threatening, it should not be laugh-threatening. And we all get into these spaces, we all get into these grumpy spaces, and if we find a way to remember that it's not that serious, it's not that serious. Nobody comes to the end of their life going, damn, I should have laughed less. I laughed too much. No, that's not how it works, because laughter is contagious. So if you come in someplace in a joyful mood, other people are going to catch it. They're going to get it. And that's part of how we spread laughter. Again, in every situation, we have these things that are not funny. So how do we get to it's a joke, laugh? How do we remember? Well, first of all, when something that is laugh-threatening happens, you take a deep breath, and you just try that mantra on. It's a joke, laugh. Trudy and I, we've been married for, we just had our Jack Benny anniversary this year, 39 years. For those who remember, otherwise, over your head. But anyway, we had our 39th anniversary, and one of the ways that we keep ourselves sane is we remember to step off the battlefield and get on a new playing field. So if in the rare occasions that we're having an argument, one of us will say, let's step off the battlefield. And the other will say, but I wasn't done being right yet. So this is part of the reminder to laugh. It's a matter of perspective. And no matter what your situation is, if you're able to laugh at it, it really changes everything. Many years ago, my favorite uncle, Uncle Barney, I was talking to Trudy about him yesterday because she never met him. He was jovial. He was jovial. He was always happy and jovial. But when he reached his late 80s, he was in the hospital. He wasn't doing well. My brother called and said, Uncle Barney is really depressed. So I decided I'm going to call him. No idea what I'm going to say, but he answered the phone, and this story came to mind. I told him about a man who needed a very serious operation. And he went to the finest surgeon in the country. Operation successful. Surgeon presents the bill. He says, I'm sorry, I can't pay that. The surgeon says, well, what about your health insurance? He goes, I don't have any health insurance. Surgeon's getting a little upset. He says, look, pay me what you can. He says, I don't have a penny to my name. I can't pay you anything. Well, now the surgeon is very upset. He says, if you knew you couldn't pay anything, why did you come to the finest surgeon in the country? And the guy said, because when it comes to my health, money is no object. And my uncle burst out laughing. It just broke the trance of his depression. Then he told me a joke, and I still remember the joke. A world-renowned preacher and a New York cab driver arrive at the gates of heaven at the same time. Well, they let the cab driver right in, and the minister is waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally he calls the attending angel over. He says, excuse me, I'm a world-famous minister. Why did you let the cab driver in? I'm waiting out here. The angel says, well, because when you preached, everybody slept. But when he drove, everybody prayed. And my uncle and I went back and forth for 15 or 20 minutes telling jokes, and it really, really made the difference. Laughter is healing in the sense that laughter brings the whole picture. It brings the whole picture to us. And so with everything else happening, he still remembered that there is joy in life. So the first principle of cosmic comic consciousness, it's a joke, laugh. That's the mantra when something happens that's kind of upsetting, that wants to make you grumpy, it's a joke, laugh. You may have to do this several times before you find the joke hidden in the picture. Number 2, self-facing laughter. Lovingly laugh in your own face. This is how we actually get to manage the ego, because the ego is always trying to be right, trying to look good. And if you've ever had an embarrassing moment in your life, you didn't look good and you didn't feel right, right? So how do you turn something like this around? Abraham Lincoln was a genius at this reframe. He's debating his opponent, and his opponent calls him two-faced. And Lincoln says, if I had 2 faces, would I be using this one? Many years ago, I was involved in a very contentious negotiation. And I finally just slammed the phone down, and I was very upset. Trudy walked over, and she says, what's the matter? I said, oh, man, that was one of the worst conversations I've ever had. Then I remembered back when I was a kid in New York, we had something called a do-over. A do-over. So I called the person back, and I said, hi, this is Steve Behrman. Did somebody just call you pretending to be me? Totally changed the energy. Totally changed the energy. So when we have the ability to laugh in our own face, in the face of our ego, we also have the power to laugh in the face of even the most serious situations, right? Well, I'll give you another example, a more playful example. As a kid, I spent my deformative years in New York, and in a housing project. And so the older kids would ask me for money. So what I learned to say was, hey, I live here. If I had money, would I be living here? And they'd laugh and leave me alone. So I was doing stand-up for money at the age of 8. My money, but that's okay. My favorite, of course, my religion as a child was baseball. That was my religion. One of my favorite baseball characters was Casey Stengel. He was manager of the Yankees at that time. And the story about Casey Stengel, when he was a rookie, The fans in New York hated him. I think he was playing for Pittsburgh. Every time he'd come to town, he'd step up to the plate, the fans would boo him all the time. They hated him for some reason. But then one day, Casey Stengel walks to the plate, steps to bat. He tips his cap, and a little sparrow flies out from under his cap. And everybody in the ballpark stood up and cheered, and they never booed him again. Obviously, he was out in the outfield. He scooped the sparrow up and put it in his cap, right? So the moral of the story is, if you're going to flip somebody the bird, make it a real bird, yeah. So that's self-facing laughter. When we're able to laugh at ourselves, we create a sense of defenselessness that makes it safe for other people to laugh at them too. It's disarming. Even in the most dire of circumstances, when we choose to laugh, it's transformational. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl talks about being in a Nazi death camp during World War II. He and a fellow inmate made a pact. Every day they would find something to laugh about, no matter what. Because if they had that power of laughter, it was a spiritual shield that allowed them to prevail no matter what was going on. To give you an idea of the leverage that humor had, one of the jokes that actually circulated inside the camps, these two Jewish guys decide that they are going to assassinate Hitler. They know Hitler's motorcade is going to pass this one intersection at 11 in the morning. They're waiting for him. 11, 11:15. When he's not there by 11:30, one of the assassins says, "Gee, I hope nothing's happened to him." So that's the power of leverage of humor. We call it leverage. So when you lovingly laugh in your own face, you can laugh in the face of anything that's happening, remembering who you are, remembering that we are love, that we are spirit. The third practice, this is really very important, is to find the joke hidden in the picture. Because sometimes there's hidden wisdom in these things that are happening to you. And if we're able to look at a situation in a funnier way, we're able to transform it. Sometimes you're walking into a situation where you have to disarm everybody. Years ago, during right after the Iraq War had started, I was scheduled to do a comedy show in Carlsbad, down south, military community. Another comedian friend had been down there the week before. He goes, "I don't know if these people are going to appreciate your comedy," right? So I walked in there, and it's a very mixed audience, long hair, short hairs, no hairs, blue hairs, everybody. And I just sat and meditated, and the meditation was, do your thing, love the audience, and be present with everybody. So I get out there, I start out my little show with fairly neutral stuff. And then I said, now I have been asked to not do any controversial political material. So you've been a wonderful audience, good night. And then the whole place came down because it was obviously disarming. It was disarming. It really created a space where everybody was able to breathe. It was they breathed a sigh of relief. And then I did my material. And at halftime, a woman comes up to me. She says, "You know, my husband's in the military. He works at the Pentagon. I heard more truth at birth." And it was a conference in Denver, Colorado called the Transpartisan Citizens Conference. And it had the wide range. On the left, we had Cynthia McKinney, who was the very, very progressive congresswoman from Georgia. On the right, we had Grover Norquist, who is the anti-tax guy who says he wants to make government small enough to drown it in a bathtub, right? So I have the whole spectrum of people. What do you say to these people? They said, well, I said, you know, this transpartisan stuff really works. As soon as Grover Norquist met these Bay Area liberals, he completely changed his point of view. Now he wants to drown government in a hot tub. So what it was it's something that everybody could laugh at. And the most interesting thing, at the end of the program, the people who were the biggest Swami fans were the right-wing militia groups from Idaho. And I think it had to do with this idea of mutual respect, that it was a family situation. We created it heart to heart. I just was thinking about this whole kerfuffle about Colbert show being canceled. I feel so bad for him. It's only been making $15 million a year. I feel so terrible for him. But the idea that humor has been weaponized on all sides, it's been weaponized. And I saw an interview with Jay Leno. He said, back when I was doing the Tonight Show, I did humor that made fun of all of the sides. I did that. And we've lost something because we've ceased to feel like a family, and these political jokes are like grenades that are lobbed over a wall. So I'm remembering something that happened in the early 1980s. I went to hear Dick Gregory. Who remembers Dick Gregory? He was really the first black nightclub comedian. He was at the Playboy Club in the 60s, but then he became radicalized. And so he's doing a program in Michigan, right north of Detroit. Audiences, half black people, half white people. And his routine went like this. He began by just eviscerating the white man. He just totally deconstructed all of the white man's foibles. Then he went on to the white woman, did the same thing. Then he did the black man, and then he did the black woman. Simultaneously eviscerating and yet elevating. Isn't that interesting? He took away all of the foibles, all of the things that people make fun of, and at the end of the day, when the lights went on, it was one of the first times I've been in a mixed race group where people are looking each other in the eye, because everybody was part of the same family in that case, in that situation. So as I'm doing a program coming up next month, Wake Up Laughing and Leave Laughter in Your Wake. It'll be an online program, but that's designed to help people heal the breach through humor. One of the final aspect of cosmic comic consciousness, commit random acts of comedy. Sometimes the universe has this arranged for you, right? I was doing a program for Kaiser years ago called the Physician Wellness Program. What an oxymoron. They did not look well, not at all. And I'm being the Swami, and I'm looking, and 2/3 of the people are from third world countries, right? I'm doing the Swami. The universe decided to do an intervention. I'm in the middle of my talk. All of a sudden, over the PA, we hear, "Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Will the owner of a white Explorer, license number BK3450, please move your vehicle? You're blocking traffic." The Swami looks up at the PA. He looks at the third world people. He says, I've always believed that most of the problems in this world have been caused by white explorers. And that's a setup, right? That's a setup. So part of this is just learning how to share humor just in your daily life, in ways that uplift other people. Could be very simple. I'm on a hike with a friend, and we meet this woman who has a dog, and he says to her, he just talks to her. He says, a guy goes to the psychiatrist. He says, "I think I'm a dog." Psychiatrist says, "Well, then get off my couch." This woman burst out laughing. It totally changed her day, just because of a silly thing that somebody said. So I'm going to leave you with this one that happened just a few years ago. Trudy and I are visiting my cousins in Baltimore. We go out to dinner with my brother. We come back, and my cousin says, "What'd you have for dinner?" Trudy says, "Duck." He said, "How'd they prepare the duck?" And I said, you can't really prepare a duck for something like that. So as you go out today, start to think about What makes you laugh? What makes you laugh? Think about the times that you've been with friends where laughter was contagious and everybody was unself-conscious about what they were doing, and laughter came through, and it created a sense of connection and camaraderie that you feel today. This is what's possible in this country right now. But as Benjamin Franklin didn't quite say, it's far better to laugh together than to cry separately. So thank you. May you wake up laughing, leave laughter in your wake, and may the farce be with you. Thank you.
And now for a little levity. My foot has fallen asleep. Thank you so much, Steve. That was hilarious, and we really enjoy the uplifting levity that you bring to our community today, and that you bring to the entire world through all the avenues that you have worked, whether it be writing books, whether it be writing a Substack article, whether it be being Swami Beyondananda, who I remember from years ago, and you've spoke here as Swami before. So we appreciate you and we thank you. Let's all give Steve another wonderful hand. And now let's just take a moment to ground this in prayer. So for whatever position is good for you for prayer, open your eyes, close your eyes. It doesn't matter. Just bring yourself into that consciousness of the inner dwelling of the Spirit, which is you. We take this moment to realize that we are always connected to that universal center of the divine, which has many powers, many words that it goes by: love, power, strength, goodness, kindness. And let's not forget the most important, humility and humor. And so knowing that I am connected to all those divine strengths, I just take a moment to claim a shift in consciousness for each person in this room, on the video, and across the world, that we take a moment each day to reconnect with that inner self in us, to look at that face of ours and make a joke, remembering that each moment is actually God's comedy playing itself out. If we only look for the humor within and without. And then take that cosmic humor and move it forward by being acts of kindness. Bring acts of kindness, acts of comedy, and acts of love. So this shift in consciousness can take just a moment when we go within, laugh at ourselves, and let it all be. And so I am claiming that each one of us has that moment each day, and especially in those times of fear or sadness, where healing is required, where uncertainty prevails, where anger is in the heart, where we're frustrated about life, that in that moment we remember to turn within to that cosmic comic, which is indwelling and uplifting at all times. And so knowing that as it is done, it is given, I just give thanks. Thanks for the humor in life. Thanks for the laughter of friends. And most of all, thanks for the smiles that is the divine smiling back. And so I let it be, and so it is. Amen. And so now is the time when we get to say an affirmation together. So if everybody will stand, we will anchor this together and join with me in saying, when I trust God and feel loved, the world looks friendlier. So I pray for an increase of trust in my heart. I recognize and acknowledge kindness everywhere I go, and so it is. Please be seated. Now is the time of conscious giving. Whether you give or whether you do that automatically online or through a bank or a check, or today you can also text to the number. What's important is what's in your heart. The love, the joy, the laughter that you give this thing we put so much attention on called money, which is just another way of distributing the cosmic consciousness. So let's hold that intention here. Ushers, if you will come forward, please do so now. And for those of you online, the number here is to text your donation to 415-779-7613, or just go to the donate tab. And those of you here, if you want to do that in the middle of the week, just because you got a little cosmic uplift and you think, oh gosh, I want to pay it forward, you can do that as well. So hold your gift over your heart as we say this blessing together. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time, and so it is. And now as the ushers take the gifts, I would like to invite back Daniel Nemad for
Now, I wouldn't
music.
necessarily say that my tribute to Jessica Alba has much of a life lesson embedded in it, but I do think this next song says a couple things worth saying and maybe worth hearing, at least for me. But it does so with some lightheartedness, I'd say, and it occurred to me to sing to you this next song called I Learn and I Forget. Shouldn't I be grown up by now? Shouldn't I have finally figured out a few things? I ain't a kid anymore. Well, didn't I go through this back then? Why the hell do I need to again? Who said time was a cure? For a minute I'm the man that I wanna be, then up comes some adult non-emergency, and my costume comes apart. And I've lost count of the steps and the slips and bad habits I was sure would lose their grip, but still clinging to my heart. And I'm wondering why I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why do I learn and I forget? Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Yeah. That's my wife singing back up. How many lessons have I laid to rest? How many wins are just rewritten regrets? No, I can't understand. How many yeses gonna sound like no's? Maybe it's best to let my memory go, just to make the man I am. Still I'm wondering why I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why do I learn and I forget? Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Oh. Woo. Oh, I wish I could say wisdom comes with age, but lately I ain't so sure. At the end of the day, I just hope I've made a mistake I never made before. Why want to know why I learned. Here comes a little feature from my niece who just turned 22.
It's like I'm just getting started.
And I forget, yeah, I learned. And I forget, oh, I learned. Life ain't for the faint-hearted. Oh, why do I learn? And I forget, yeah, I learned. And I forget, oh, I learn, like I'm just getting started. Why do I learn? And I forget, yeah, I learn. And I forget, oh, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Oh, do. I learn, and I forget. Life ain't for the faint-hearted. No. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. And now I invite the ushers forward to bless these gifts. We just take a moment to bless these gifts and thank the good work that they are going to be doing in gratitude and health and healing and going out into the world. We are grateful for this and so much more, and we let it be. So I want those of you that are here for the first time, don't worry, I'm not going to make you stand or anything, but to let you know that right back here at this table, Galen is holding up a blue envelope, which will give you some information about our community. And if you'll fill out the card in that, we will be happy to give you this book called Nourishing Thoughts, which is just a little daily reader, or you can have it in your purse for when you just need to have a little cosmic comedy come into your life and remind you to lighten your heart. And so please fill that out, and please do come back next Sunday or any other Sunday so that you can meet our senior minister and hear about her happy, joyful time, because when you're with a 1-year-old, that's definitely cosmic comedy over and over and over again. We also want to make sure to thank everybody who helped with this Sunday celebration. You can see all the names coming up here. Thank you, Reverend Emelouise, for doing the opening invocation. Jet, for this beautiful, beautiful altar honoring the Ukraine and peace. And that's what we want in the world, right? Peace, love, harmony. So we're thankful for that. And for our sound team, who is here doing everything and making it all look so easy, but it's actually not easy to get sound working right. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Dana, and everyone else who works on that sound team. Hospitality today, we thank you for the food, and we invite you all to please come over and take some nourishment. I'm going to jump ahead to one of our announcements at this point in time, which is a quick reminder that it's summer, which means you are the ones bringing the snacks. There is no specific list for people to bring snacks. So if there's not enough there today, it's your fault. Just want you to know. Okay, and so also to thank for everybody else. So let's especially thank Jet for this lovely lovely altar. And I'd like to thank the entire altar team. Don't they do a great job every week? Okay, so the second announcement of the day is our 3-week membership class is starting next Sunday. So let me explain that if you come to the course, that doesn't require that you become a member. It's if you want to start finding out what membership would be like, how that means in your heart, etc., please come. It starts next Sunday. All 3 sections are required to actually become a member, but joining again is not mandatory. The class will be held on Zoom, so for those of you that are also our online visitors, it's no barrier there. So you'll just need to be home by 1 o'clock or wherever you are in your car, zooming along. Not zooming and zooming at the same time. Let me be clear on that. We want you to be seated someplace, not in a moving vehicle when you're doing the Zoom for the new members class. And that will start then. And then what we're going to do is on the 19th is when there will be a new members reception. And that's for everyone here. So old members, visitors, whatever, please come to the new members reception, meet each other, have a nosh, and have a good time. And then we will be welcoming new members on the 21st. And then for those of you that have been around a little while and want to learn even more deeply about the Centers for Spiritual Living, our Foundations of Science of Mind class, which is the introductory course, will be offered by Reverend Mary beginning Tuesday, September 16th. It will be from 3 to 6 on Zoom. Registration will open on our website next week when Mary's back. Pick up the detailed flyer on this, which is our information table in the back, or it will be on the website for those of you that are online. So just come to this table, which tells a lot about what's going on here at the center. And lastly, but not least, we want to remind you that we're going to start a book study in October. And so now is the time to buy the copy of the book. And the book that it will be based on is How to Use the Science of Mind, which is an Ernest Holmes book that has just been re-released. But if you have the older book, it's the same book, it's just updated. So, but if you want the new copy, you can go to this URL here and order it, and then sign up today on the activities table to become a host facilitator, because for these book studies to work, we need homes to have them in. So indicate that you're willing to open your home for a small group, and you will be provided a facilitator's guide, and the other people are supposed to bring, any noshes or stuff that are there, so it's not much. It's just put on a tea kettle, have some tea, have some water for the people, and place to sit and have a conversation. So sign up there for that. And then I would also like to announce that Steve and Trudy, and I want to really acknowledge Trudy, because I know that for any minister or speaker, it's that other half that does all the behind-the-scenes work to make it happen that allows us to sit here and just love Steve's conversation, Steve's open heart with us. But you are the wind beneath the wings, and I appreciate you being here. And they have all of their goods here. So please go visit their table. They'll be there afterwards. There's fun books, there's CDs, so you can take Trudy and Steve home with you. And you don't even have to put on a kettle. Okay, so I would like to now invite the practitioners to surround the room so that we can ground our time here in prayer. As a reminder, the prayer practitioners are licensed spiritual mentors who have both private practices. So if you're going through something that's a little more intense, or you just want an expansion in your life, more joy in your life, more creativity or whatever, you can hire any one of these practitioners to do ongoing work with you. But on Sundays, as a gift to you, there's always a few practitioners here at the practitioner table who will do just a little mini prayer with you on whatever is heavy on your heart. So please don't go home with any concern. Please leave it here with the practitioner to pray on throughout the week. Or if you have a joy, I want to make sure that people understand that practitioners are not just for when you're going through trouble. It's for when you're going through the good and expansion and, getting something new and being in that next stage of life that is actually exciting can also be a time when you want to turn within and get some spiritual guidance. I'm going through that myself right now, trying to decide, am I retired? Am I not retired? I'm not really sure. And that's a good thing, but it's frightening, right? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but they're there for you. And so today what we're going to do, and if you don't like to talk to people, you're a little shy, there's a prayer box. You can just write it on the prayer request, put it in, and they'll pray for you for the entire week. So now we are going to do what we call a chamber of prayer. And a chamber of prayer is when each one of these practitioners is praying simultaneously for you. They're not saying the same words, but they are uplifting together in a unity of prayer. So don't try to hone in on the specific words. Just know that this is happening as a unified prayer with individual words. And so as we go within, and so it is. Please stand now for the closing blessing and song. I now walk through whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. And now,
Well, one more song. I hope you have enjoyed my moderately inappropriate and dubious song choices for today. It's been very fun to think a little outside the box, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. This last one is just one of the most joyful songs for me to sing off of the Sacred Love 2 album. And the only thing I'll mention, by the way, besides thank you again for having me, is thank you especially for such a wonderful visit in person. I felt so welcomed, and it just was just a great day. So thank you for everything. And the second thing is, I don't remember if I mentioned it when I was there, but I am leading 2 international tours next year in Peru at the end of May and into June of 2026, and then in England and Scotland in October. So if that's interesting to you at all, just get in touch with me. All right, here we go. One more song. Thank you again, especially for forgiving me. I thought I'd play some guitar with this one. There is a song that my heart always sings, and you are the melody. You are the melody, my God. A song that my heart always sings, and you are the melody. You are the melody, the harmony, the music of my heart. There we go. There's a song. A song that my soul always sings, and you are the melody. You are the melody, my God. There is a song that my soul always sings, and you are the melody. You are the melody, the the music of my soul. Now we have some long amens. Amen. the melody, the harmony, the symphony of all. Do the amens a couple times. Here we go. Nice job. Thank you and have a wonderful week.